Okay, so I just got done watching the two videos for this assignment. One by Cheryl Wu Dun, Our Century's Greatest Injustice, and then the other by Hans Rosling, The Magic Washing Machine. It's very interesting to me to see the first one with Cheryl, how she was talking about poverty and education of girls and how little tiny investments on children, especially on females, could change our perspective and also make, I guess, a big difference their on their level of where they've found the place in the world. There's a couple examples of how a girl, some people in Connecticut gave a goat, and how she was able to use that goat, and her family was able to use that goat to make money from the milk, and then able to send her to the U.S. and ultimately graduate from college. But it allowed her to obtain an education. Cheryl, she was talking about how there is about 60 to 100 million girls and women that do not get the opportunity to have an education, and how when they do obtain an education, some things I noticed from her discussion was, or her talk on her TED Talk, was how girls that have an education tend to have fewer children, which was interesting to me, but how those children are raised differently and are able to then obtain a better education and have the opportunity to have an education because the parents um, see that as an important thing in their life, is to have an education. I also liked how she was focusing on um, she focused on how slavery and like sex trafficking still is worse than it was in the 1780s, and how in today's dollars a slave was worth about $40,000, but now today you can purchase a girl in Thailand or any other part of the world for a few $100s. And how if we just, as Westerners and people that have education and have money, were to give them the opportunity to change their life with a very simple donation or something, that they would have a better opportunity in life. Another thing I noticed was she was talking about the girl in China, how her family had to pull her out of school because of a $13 school fee. And it had me start thinking about how lucky are we. Yes, our education is expensive here in the States, but it's relative to what we make and our opportunities that we have here in the United States. And as Westerners, it all goes back to that germ or guns, germs, and steel. How everything, if your country is industrialized and you have technology and you have all these things, how you can become a more successful person, country, and also then your future generations will also become will become educated. You look at a lot of the places that are struggling um, with education and with health. They're obviously the countries that are very poor, but we as Westerners can help fix that. Now moving on to the Hans Rosling, The Magic Washing Machine. Um, his talk, his TED Talk, I liked quite a bit, and he was focusing more on if we're industrialized, and he was relating the story of how his mom and his grandma sat down and washed a washing machine, and how if you have a washing machine, being industrialized, you have the greater opportunity to be educated. Um, we as Westerners and Americans, we have that opportunity. Yes, there are people still in the United States that are below that poverty line or struggle. They don't have washing machines, but for the most part, most of us have access or do have them, and how if we have those things, we ultimately have a better chance of getting a better education and being able to have those luxuries in life. And the main thing I got from these two videos is how much do I personally take for granted. Obviously, the scriptures tell us that the North America is obviously the promised land, but how often do we really take that for granted, and how much are we appreciative that we were born in such a great country where we have the technology, we have the industry, our industries are so big, we have so many things, we have technology, we have manufacturing, where many of these countries struggle with those things. I feel that sometimes we, especially as members of the church, tend to take many of those prophecies and things for granted, and how we need to strengthen ourselves and also start, just instead of giving a generous fast offering and paying our 10%, our full tithe, we need to start to give more to the petrol education and give to other things. And I understand some people don't like giving to other organizations, but obviously the church's system they have set up is very good, and I've started to see that we are very, very blessed for living in this great country now. And I think that we can help others. It doesn't have to be like the $10,000 that one person sent to the girl in China, but it could be that $13 little donation. And most of us in the United States can spare a little money. That's all I have.